Hello everyone, welcome to my best year ever portfolio notebook that I designed for simple stories. To get started, I am using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. This is because I'm using the Scotch 8.5 by 11 laminate sheet. So I've trimmed the paper down. Now I'm going to score in the middle 1 inch. So I am going to score at 5 and 6. I'm going to corner around the edges. Then next I am going to place my paper into one of the little laminate sleeves. So just make sure that's really good and clean and just slide that in and make sure that you center the paper inside of the sheet. Again, make sure everything's clean, there's not any lint or dust or anything like that in there. Then just kind of smooth that down. And you'll want to insert into the laminator by the sealed edge. So just make sure that sealed edge goes in first and then just let it just feeds itself through. Next, I want to create the holes for the cording, and I'm using a ruler to measure in 1/4 inch from the bottom and 1/4 inch from each side of the creases. So that's 1/4 inch in and 3/4 inch in. I will make a small mark and then use an 1/8 inch hole punch to make my holes, and then repeat the process at the top. For the middle hole for the closure, I'm just using an eyelet setter to make a fairly large hole. Here I'm using a 2mm white round cording. To find the length, I just lay a piece down and then loop that back up and then just snip that off. I will start by threading through the top right hole, back in through the top left hole, down to the bottom left hole, back up through the bottom right hole, and then tie that off. And you'll want to pull your tension so that it's pretty taut. The papers are going to be fairly heavy, so the tighter that you have this made and knotted off, the less sag you'll have of your papers when they're inside the journal. So just tie that off. And then for the loop, the closure loop, I'm just taking a small piece, making a loop to determine the length that I need. And you'll notice that I'm just making sure all that loop goes down to the bottom of the book. And then you'll just tie that off. I like to seal the edge with a little bit of lighter and then just poke that through the hole. And there you have it. And then next, for the papers that are inside, I use different sets of 4. And I cut these down to 8 inches by 9.5 inches, scored that in the middle. But when you place your papers, when you start to trim them, the next 3 pages need to be about a 1/16 of an inch smaller so everything tucks in nice and neat. And then I move through the months of the papers and use the bottom journal card from the Best Year Ever collection kit and use that bottom card to create my little pocket for each of the pages. And then next I'm going to score the card 3/4 of an inch from each edge, and then a 1/2 inch from the bottom. And then I'm just cutting the edges so that everything folds up nice and neat. I just cut across. You're not going to see that inside, and it helps to fold everything up and look nice and neat there. So there's the pocket. And then you have all of these fun different embellishments that you can use to decorate each of the different pockets throughout the month. And I use the stamps. Show those here in just a second. I use the cute little months stamps here and Sharpie markers to make these fun little covers for each of the sections. Thank you for joining.